Most people chase positive thoughts. Winners don't. Winners chase accurate thoughts. Positivity tries to change your feelings. Precision changes your future. Your mind right now is either sharp or dull, either cutting through problems or getting stuck in them, either building momentum or burning energy. From today, your mind becomes a tool, not a theater. You'll stop decorating problems and start defining them. You'll stop negotiating with moods and start obeying orders. You'll stop hoping things get better and start making decisions that make them better. Not positive, precise. And when thought gets precise, life follows. You're about to reprogram how your mind works under pressure. Every chapter will give you a new command. Every practice will sharpen one edge of your thinking. By the end, you won't just feel motivated. You'll operate differently. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The switch from positive to precise. Here's what no one tells you about positive thinking. It works until it doesn't. Positive thinking feels good in the moment. It softens the blow. It makes hard things seem lighter. But it doesn't make you sharper. It doesn't make you more accurate. And accuracy is what wins. Winners don't think positive. They think precise. They don't say everything happens for a reason. They say, here's what happened. Here's what I control. Here's what I do next. They don't say, I'll be fine. They say, I'll handle this by doing X, Y, and Z. They don't decorate reality. They define it. Positivity is a painkiller. Precision is a scalpel. One numbs the problem. The other removes it. And you're done numbing. Let me show you the difference. Positive thinking says, I'm going to crush this presentation. Precise thinking says, I'll rehearse 3 times, prepare for 2 objections, and arrive 15 minutes early. Positive thinking says, things will work out. Precise thinking says, if A fails, I pivot to B. If B fails, I have C ready. See the gap? One is hope. The other is architecture. One is feeling. The other is engineering. Winners illot. They don't just believe. Your thoughts are tools. And right now, most of them are dull. Dull tools don't cut clean. They tear. They waste energy. They leave jagged edges. A dull thought sounds like this. I need to get better at this. A sharp thought sounds like this. I'll practice this skill for 20 minutes daily for 2 weeks and measure progress every Friday. Dull. I'm stressed. Sharp. I have 3 deadlines and no system. I need to block time or delegate one. Dull. I hope this works. Sharp. I've done the prep. I'll adjust based on feedback. From now on, every thought you think gets sharpened before it leaves your mind. Every worry gets translated into a decision. Every feeling gets compressed into a fact. Not positive. Precise. Say it again. Not positive. Precise. This is the first law of the winner's mind. Thought without precision is noise. Winners don't fill their heads with affirmations. They fill them with instructions. They don't motivate themselves into action. They command themselves into it. Orders over moods. Always. Here's your first practice. Take one problem you're facing right now. Just one. Write it down in 3 parts. 1. What actually happened? Just the facts, no interpretation, no drama. 2. What does it mean? 1 sentence. No more. 3. What's the next move? 1 action. Specific. Measurable. That's precision. That's the switch. You just turned a worry into a workflow. This is how winners think. Not louder, clearer. Not harder, sharper. And clarity compounds. 1 precise thought leads to 1 clean decision. 1 clean decision leads to 1 forward move. 1 forward move builds 1 small win. And small wins stack into momentum. Momentum isn't motivation. It's math. It's the result of precise thinking applied consistently. And you just started the sequence. From this moment forward, your mind operates under new rules. Rule 1. No vague statements. Rule 2. Every problem gets a next step. Rule 3. Feelings are data, not decisions. Rule 4. Clarity first, action second, emotion third. Remember, positivity tries to feel better. Precision makes life better. And you're done trying. You're starting to build. Now let's go deeper. Chapter 2. The mirror of reality. Clarity before control. You don't control life. You never did. You never will. But you control something more powerful. You control how you see it. Reality is a mirror. What you see in it depends entirely on how clean the glass is. Most people look at life through a smudged mirror, distorted, blurry, half covered in assumptions, fears, and old stories. They see what they expect to see, not what's actually there. Winners clean the glass first. They name things exactly. This is the second law. You can't solve what you won't name. If you call a problem complicated, you'll avoid it. If you call it a series of 5 decisions, you'll handle it. If you call failure the end, you stop. If you call it one data point, you continue. Words create worlds. The words you use to describe your life become the architecture of your life. Vague words build vague lives. Precise words build precise lives. Let me prove it. Say, I'm overwhelmed. Now say, I have 7 tasks and no priority system. Feel the difference? One traps you. The other opens a door. One is a mood. The other is a map. Winners don't describe feelings. They describe situations. They don't say, I'm anxious. They say, I'm uncertain about outcome X and need more data on variable Y. They don't say, this is hard. They say, this requires skill Z, which I'll develop through practice A and feedback B. Clarity is control, not control over the outcome. Control over the response. And response is everything. Here's the rule. Name things exactly. Not dramatically, not poetically, exactly. Strip out the emotion. Strip out the story. What's left is the fact. And facts can be worked with. Take the thing that's weighing on you right now. The thing you keep circling in your mind, but never landing on. Now name it. Not, I'm stuck. Not this situation. Name it. I need to decide between X and Y by Friday. Or, I'm avoiding a conversation with person Z. Or, I don't have a plan for outcome A. There it is. That's the mirror, cleaned. You just turned fog into form. The winner's mind doesn't avoid reality. It articulates it. Because articulation is the first move toward action. You can't act on everything. You can act on this one thing. Right now. You can't fix my life. You can fix this decision today. This is how you build clarity under pressure. You shrink the frame. You name the real. You cut the story. Fact. Meaning. Move. Here's your practice for this chapter. Take any situation that feels heavy. Write 3 sentences. Sentence 1. What happened? Facts only. No spin. Sentence 2. What does it mean? One interpretation. Your cleanest take. Sentence 3. What's the move? One action. Specific. Timed. That's it. 3 sentences. That's how you go from clouded to commanded, from reactive to responsive. Reality isn't the enemy. Distortion is. And distortion dies in the light of exact language. So clean the mirror. Name the thing. Take the move. That's precision. That's power. Now we go to the code. Chapter 3. The Code of Winners. Beliefs that don't break. Winners are not born with better circumstances. They're built with better beliefs. And beliefs are not feelings. Beliefs are operating systems. They run in the background. They determine every output, every reaction, every choice. Most people run on corrupted code. Code that says, life happens to me. Code that says, I need to feel ready before I act. Code that says, if it's hard, I'm not meant for it. Winners install different code. Code that doesn't break under pressure. Code that gets stronger when tested. Here's the core belief system of every unshakable mind. Belief. 1. I choose my response, always. Not my circumstances, not my feelings. My response. No matter what happens, I own what I do next. Belief 2. I earn my outcomes, not through luck, not through hope, through decisions, repeated. If I want different results, I make different moves. Belief 3. I learn from everything. Every win is data. Every loss is data. Nothing is wasted if I extract the lesson. These 3 beliefs form the unbreakable core. Say them again. I choose my response. I earn my outcomes. I learn from everything. Now let me show you how this code runs in real time. Someone disrespects you. Old code. Why do people treat me this way? New code. I choose my response. I'll address this clearly, or remove myself cleanly. You fail at something important. Old code. I'm not good enough. New code. I learn from everything. What's the lesson? What's the next iteration? You don't get the outcome you worked for. Old code. Nothing ever works out for me. New code. I earn my outcomes. I'll adjust the inputs and run it again. See the difference? Old code creates victims. New code creates players. Old code looks for exits. New code looks for edges. Old code reacts to pressure. New code responds to it. Your beliefs are either working for you or against you. There is no neutral. Every belief you hold is either building your capacity or capping it. Most people never audit their beliefs. They inherit them. From parents, from culture, from early failure. And they run on those beliefs for decades without realizing the system is broken. Winners audit. Winners upgrade. Here's how. Take one recurring problem in your life. The thing that keeps showing up. Now ask, what belief is creating this pattern? Not, why does this keep happening? But, what am I believing that allows this to continue? If you keep getting overwhelmed, the belief might be, I have to do everything myself. If you keep avoiding hard conversations, the belief might be, conflict means failure. If you keep starting and stopping, the belief might be, I need to feel motivated to act. Name the belief. Then replace it. I have to do everything myself becomes, I build systems and delegate strategically. Conflict means failure becomes, clarity sometimes requires confrontation. I need to feel motivated to act becomes, I follow orders, not moods. This is the work. Not changing your circumstances, changing the code that interprets them. Because when the code is clean, the outcomes follow. Here's your practice. Make one decision today with full responsibility. Not, I'll try. Not, I hope. I will do X by Y time. If I don't, I'll know exactly why and what I'll change next time. Own it completely. No excuses. No maybes. That's the winner's code running live. That's belief becoming behavior. Remember, you don't need better luck. You need better code. Install it. Run it. Watch what happens. Now let's sharpen the blade. Chapter 4. Precision. Thinking. From vague to specific. Vague thought creates vague life. Specific thought creates specific life. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Your mind works like a search engine. The more specific the query, the better the result. If you ask yourself, how do I get better? Your brain shrugs. If you ask, how do I improve my closing rate by 10% in 30 days? Your brain gets to work. Winners don't think in clouds. They think in coordinates. They don't say, I want to be successful. They say, I want to generate X revenue, serve Y clients, and work Z hours per week within 12 months. They don't say, I need to be healthier. They say, I'll train 4 days a week, sleep 7 hours nightly, and hit 150 grams of protein daily. Vague is easy. Specific is powerful. Vague lets you stay comfortable. Specific forces you to commit. And commitment is where transformation lives. Here's the framework that changes everything. 3 steps. Every goal, every problem, every decision. Step 1. Define. What exactly am I trying to achieve? In 10 words or less. Not improve my business. Instead, add 5 new clients in 60 days. Not get in shape. Instead, lose 12 pounds and run a 5K. Step 2. Measure. How will I know I'm winning? What's the one metric that matters? Not feelings, numbers, not I'll feel better. Instead, I'll weigh 185 pounds. Not things will improve. Instead, I'll close 3 deals this month. Step 3. decide. What's the constraint? What am I willing to trade? Because every goal has a cost. Every win requires a sacrifice. Not, I'll do whatever it takes. Instead, I'll invest 2 hours daily and skip weekend plans for 8 weeks. Define, measure, decide. That's precision thinking. That's how you go from wandering to winning. Let me show you this in action. Vague goal. I want to be more confident. Precision version. I'll speak up in 3 meetings this week, even if my idea isn't perfect, and track how often I contribute versus stay silent. Vague problem. I'm always busy, but not productive. Precision version. I'll eliminate 2 low-value tasks, block 3 hours for deep work daily, and measure output by completed projects, not hours worked. Vague decision. I need to make a change. Precision version. I'll test option A for 30 days with metrics X and Y, then decide to scale, pivot, or stop based on results. You see it now? Vague thinking is a fog machine. Precision thinking is a laser. One spreads energy everywhere. The other focuses it into a single point. And focus cuts through everything. Most people fail not because they lack effort. They fail because their effort has no target. They work hard on vague ideas and wonder why nothing lands. Winners compress the target. They make it so specific that success and failure become obvious. Here's your practice. Take one goal you've been carrying around. Now compress it. 10 words or less. What exactly do I want? 1 metric. How will I measure progress? 1 constraint. What am I willing to sacrifice or reallocate? Write it down. Right now. Because once it's specific, it's actionable. And once it's actionable, it's inevitable. Vague goals die in comfort. Specific goals demand execution. And execution is the only language results understand. Define, measure, decide. That's the code. Now let's build emotional stamina. Chapter 5. Emotional stamina. Feel deep, decide clean. Winners feel everything. Then they decide anyway. This is the part most people get wrong. They think strength means not feeling. That control means suppression. That toughness means numbness. It doesn't. Real strength is feeling the full weight of an emotion and still making the right move. Real control is letting the storm pass through you without letting it steer you. Real toughness is saying, I feel this completely, and I'm acting anyway. Winners don't avoid emotions. They process them. They don't fight fear. They feel it, name it, and step forward. They don't deny doubt. They acknowledge it and decide in spite of it. Emotional stamina isn't about feeling less. It's about deciding clean. Here's the truth. Most motivational content won't tell you. You will feel afraid and still need to act. You will feel uncertain and still need to commit. You will feel tired and still need to execute. Feelings are real, but they're not facts. Fear says, this might fail. That's data, not destiny. Doubt says, I'm not sure I can do this. That's feedback, not fate. Exhaustion says, I need rest. That might be true. Or it might be resistance. The winner's mind has emotional stamina. It can hold two truths at once. I feel afraid and I'm moving forward. I feel uncertain and I'm deciding anyway. I feel resistance and I'm honoring the commitment. This is the practice. 90-second emotional reset. Step 1. Breathe. 4 counts in, 6 counts out. 3 cycles. Step 2. Label. Name the emotion in one word. Fear, anger, doubt, exhaustion. Step 3. Locate. Where do you feel it in your body? Chest, stomach, shoulders? Step 4. Choose. What's the decision here? What's the clean move? 90 seconds. That's how long it takes for an emotional surge to peak and begin to subside. You don't have to make it disappear. You just have to not let it drive. Feel it. Name it. Frame it. Say it. Feel it. Name it. Frame it. Here's the difference between emotional reactivity and emotional stamina. Reactivity says, I feel bad, so I'll avoid the task. Stamina says, I feel resistance, which means this task matters. I'll start anyway. Reactivity says, I'm angry, so I'll send the message now. Stamina says, I'm angry, which is data. I'll respond after clarity returns. Reactivity says, I feel unmotivated, so today doesn't count. Stamina says, I feel unmotivated, which is irrelevant. I follow orders, not moods. Emotions are not the enemy. Letting them lead is. Winners feel fully, then route the energy into decision. They don't suppress. They translate. Anger becomes focus. Fear becomes preparation. Doubt becomes diligence. Exhaustion becomes rest or discipline, depending on the context. Every emotion has a clean use. The question is, are you using it, or is it using you? Here's your practice. The next time a strong emotion hits, don't act immediately. Run the 90-second reset. Breathe, label, locate, choose. Then ask, what's the clean decision here? Not the easy one, not the reactive one, the clean one. Emotional stamina is a skill. It's built through repetition. Every time you feel deeply and decide cleanly, you get stronger. Every time you pause before reacting, you reclaim power. Feel it. Name it. Frame it. That's the rhythm. That's how you build a mind that never breaks. Now let's talk about pressure. Chapter 6. Anti-fragile identity. Pressure makes pattern. Most people avoid pressure. Winners seek it. Not because they enjoy pain, because they understand the principle. Pressure doesn't break you. Pressure reveals you. And if you learn from what it reveals, pressure builds you. This is anti-fragility, not resilience, not toughness, anti-fragility. Resilience means you survive the hit and return to baseline. Anti-fragility means you survive the hit and come back stronger. Your muscles don't grow from comfort. They grow from stress. Your mind works the same way. Every time you face pressure and respond with precision, you encode a new pattern. Every time you fail and extract the lesson, you upgrade the system. Pressure is not punishment. Pressure is training. And training only works if you treat it like training. Here's how winners process failure. They don't spiral. They don't collapse. They document. They turn failure into data. They run the failure fact log. 3 questions. Every setback. Every loss. Question 1. What actually happened? Just the event. No drama. No narrative. I missed the deadline. I lost the client. I didn't execute the plan. Question 2. What was in my control? Not the outcome. The inputs. I didn't block time. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't follow the system I built. Question 3. What's the next move? 1 adjustment, specific, immediate. I'll time block every Monday morning. I'll add 3 discovery questions to every first call. I'll set a daily alarm to review the checklist. That's it. That's the log. Event, controllables, next move, no shame, no story, just feedback. This is how you turn failure from emotional collapse into operational upgrade. You stop seeing failure as identity and start seeing it as information. I failed becomes that approach failed. I'm not good enough becomes I need skill X or adjustment Y. Anti-fragility is a mindset and a method. The mindset. Pressure is training. The method. Document, extract, adjust. Every time something breaks, you have a choice. Collapse or calibrate. Spiral or strengthen. React or rebuild. Winners rebuild. Here's your practice. Think of one recent failure, something that stung. Now run the log. What happened? Facts only. What did I control? Inputs only. What's the next move? One thing only. You just turned loss into leverage. You just made pressure useful. Over time, this becomes identity. You stop fearing failure because you know how to process it. You stop avoiding pressure because you know it makes you sharper. You start seeking challenges because you know each one upgrades you. That's anti-fragility. That's the mind that never breaks. Now let's talk about self-command. Chapter 7. Self-command. Orders you obey. Motivation is a visitor. It comes. It goes. It cannot be trusted. Winners don't wait for motivation. They issue orders, and they obey them. This is self-command. The ability to tell yourself to move, and move immediately. No negotiation, no delay, no checking how you feel about it. Most people treat themselves like a suggestion box. Maybe I should work on this. I'll do it when I feel ready. Let me see if I have the energy. Winners treat themselves like a platoon. Start now. Execute this. Move. The difference is obedience, not to external pressure, to internal command. You give the order. You follow the order. That's the loop. Here's why this matters. Motivation waits for conditions. Command creates them. Motivation needs energy. Command generates it. Motivation depends on mood. Command overrides it. Action precedes belief. You don't act because you feel motivated. You feel motivated because you acted. You don't wait to feel confident. You act, and confidence follows. You don't delay until inspiration strikes. You start, and momentum builds inspiration. Orders over moods. Always. Say it. Orders over moods. Here's the technique that changes everything. The 2-minute launch. When you know you need to do something, you have 2 minutes before your mind starts negotiating. 2 minutes before resistance builds. 2 minutes before excuses form. Within those 2 minutes, you launch. You don't plan the whole task. You start the first move. You don't think about finishing. You think about beginning. You don't wait for clarity. You create clarity through action. Open the document. Put on the shoes. Send the first email. Make the first call. Write the first sentence. The 2-minute launch is not about completing. It's about starting before the mind interferes. Because once you start, momentum takes over. Once you're in motion, staying in motion is easier than restarting. Most people fail not because they lack discipline. They fail because they think too long. They wait for readiness. They wait for the right mood. They wait for conditions. Winners don't wait. They launch. Here's the rule. If you know it needs to be done, you have 2 minutes. Count down if you need to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. No thinking. No negotiating. No checking the weather inside your head. Command and obey. This is how you build self-trust. Every time you give an order and follow it, you prove to yourself that you are reliable. Every time you launch, within 2 minutes, you train your mind that delay is not an option. Every time you act without waiting for motivation, you decouple action from feeling. And that decoupling is freedom, because feelings are unreliable, but orders are constant. Feelings fluctuate, but discipline executes. Here's your practice. Right now, identify one thing you've been delaying. One task. One conversation. One decision. Now count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Launch. Not tomorrow. Not after you think about it more. Now. Take the first move. Send the message. Open the file. Make the call. 2 minutes. That's the window. Use it. Self-command is not about being hard on yourself. It's about being reliable to yourself. It's about proving through repetition that when you say move, you move. Orders over moods. Action precedes belief. Launch within 2 minutes. That's the code. That's the edge. Now let's simplify decision-making. Chapter 8. Decision Math. Simple rules that scale. Most people overcomplicate decisions. They analyze every angle. They seek perfect information. They delay until certainty arrives. Certainty never arrives. Winners simplify. They reduce every decision to a binary. Does this move me forward or not? Not, is this perfect? Just, is this 1% better? This is decision math. Simple rules that scale across every context. Rules you apply once and use forever. Here's the first rule. The 1% test. Will this action move me 1% closer to the outcome I want? If yes, do it. If no, don't. If unsure, default to action and adjust. Most decisions don't require genius. They require clarity. Will this meeting add value? 1% test. Will this purchase move me forward? 1% test. Will this task build momentum or burn time? 1% test. You don't need to predict the future. You just need to bias toward progress. And progress compounds. 1% forward daily becomes 37 times better in 1 year. That's not motivation. That's math. Here's the second rule. The decision ladder. Every task falls into one of 4 categories. Eliminate, automate, delegate, do. Eliminate. Does this need to happen at all? If not, remove it. Most tasks exist because no one questioned them. Question them. Automate. Can this be systematized? If yes, build the system. You don't gain leverage by doing more. You gain it by doing less, better. Delegate. Can someone else do this at 80% of my quality? If yes, hand it off. Your time is your most finite resource. Spend it only on what you alone can do. Do. If it can't be eliminated, automated, or delegated, and it moves you forward, do it now. Run every task through this ladder. Eliminate first. Automate second. Delegate third. Do last. Most people start at do and wonder why they're overwhelmed. Winners start at eliminate and end with leverage. Simple decisions. Powerful momentum. Say it. Simple decisions. Powerful momentum. Here's the third rule. The 10-minute decision. Chapter. If a decision takes longer than 10 minutes to make, you're either missing information or overthinking. Missing information? Go get it. Quickly. Overthinking? Make the call. Adjust later. Most decisions are reversible. Most mistakes are recoverable. The only unrecoverable mistake is chronic indecision. Because indecision is a decision. It's a decision to stay stuck. Every day you delay is a day you lose momentum. Every hour you spend analyzing is an hour you could spend executing and learning. Winners bias toward speed. Not recklessness. Speed. They make the decision with the information available. Act, gather feedback, and adjust. That cycle beats perfect planning every time. Here's your practice. Take one decision you've been sitting on. Run it through the tools. 1% test. Does this move me forward? Yes or no? Decision ladder. Can I eliminate, automate, delegate, or do this? 10-minute. Cap. Decide now. Right now. Make the call. Take the action. Move. Because momentum comes from motion, not meditation. Simple decisions. Powerful momentum. That's the rhythm. That's how you turn complexity into clarity, and clarity into speed. Now let's talk about focus under fire. Chapter 9. Focus under fire. Calm as a competitive edge. Everyone can focus in perfect conditions. Winners focus when everything is chaos. This is the edge. Not skill, not strategy. Calm. Calm under pressure. Calm in crisis. Calm when the world is loud. Calm is not passivity. Calm is control. It's the ability to slow your internal clock while the external world speeds up. It's the ability to think clearly when others are reacting blindly. It's the ability to make one good decision when everyone else is making 10 bad ones. Calm is not a personality trait. It's a practice, and it gives you an unfair advantage. Here's why. Pressure doesn't just test your skill, it tests your nervous system. Under stress, most people's thinking narrows. Their vision tunnels. Their breathing shallows. They lose access to their best thinking precisely when they need it most. Winners train differently. They train their nervous system to stay regulated under load. This is physiological, not philosophical. When you're calm, your prefrontal cortex stays online. You can plan. You can prioritize. You can pivot. When you're dysregulated, you drop into survival mode. Fight, flight, freeze. Survival mode doesn't make good decisions. It makes fast ones. The practice is simple. 4 in, 6 out breathing. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 6 counts. 3 cycles. 30 seconds total. This is not meditation. This is activation. You're telling your nervous system, we're safe. We can think. Your body listens. Your heart rate drops. Your mind clears. And from clarity comes control. Do this before big moments, before the presentation, before the conversation, before the decision. Do this during chaos. When pressure spikes, when emotion surges, when everything accelerates. 4 inches, 6 out. 3 cycles. That's your reset button. That's how you reclaim your mind in real time. Now let's talk about focus itself. Most people believe they're focused when they're actually scattered. They work on 5 things poorly instead of 1 thing completely. Winners do the opposite. Single-threaded focus. 1 task. Full attention. Completion before switching. Not multitasking. Not tab switching. Not half presence. Full immersion in 1 thing until it's done. or until a natural stopping point. This is harder than it sounds. Your mind will resist. It will want to check, to switch, to scan. That's normal. That's the cost of living in a distraction economy. But focus is the skill that pays the highest returns. Here's the practice. Pick one task. Set a timer for 25 minutes. During those 25 minutes, only that task exists. No phone, no tabs, no interruptions. If a thought comes, note it and return to the task. If resistance comes, breathe and return to the task. 25 minutes of full focus is worth 2 hours of scattered work, because depth beats duration. Quality beats quantity. Presence beats performance theater. And when you practice single-threaded focus daily, something shifts. You start to see through distraction. You start to notice when you're avoiding depth. You start to protect your attention like the finite resource it is. Stillness wins. Say it. Stillness wins. In a world that rewards speed, the calm mind has leverage. In a world that glorifies busyness, the focused mind has advantage. In a world that celebrates volume, the precise mind has power. Here's your practice for this chapter. Next time pressure hits, run the protocol. 4 inches, 6 out. 3 cycles, 30 seconds. Then ask, what's the one thing that matters most right now? Not 5 things. 1 thing. Then give that thing single-threaded focus until it's handled. Calm first. Clarity second. Action third. That's the sequence. That's how you win when everyone else is panicking. Stillness wins. Now let's talk about crisis. Chapter 10. Crisis. Thinking. When everything is loud, crisis doesn't ask permission. It arrives. It screams. It demands immediate response. And in that moment, most people freeze or flail. They spiral into worst-case thinking. They try to solve everything at once. They move fast, but without direction. Winners do something different. They slow down to speed up. Not physically, mentally. They create space between stimulus and response. They pause. They assess. They act. This is crisis thinking. Not panic management. Not hope. Thinking. And thinking in crisis requires a framework. Here it is. 2 sentences that lead under pressure. Sentence 1. Acknowledge reality. Say what's happening. Out loud if possible. Certainly in your mind. We missed the deadline. The system failed. I made a mistake. No spin. No softening. Just the fact. Acknowledgement doesn't mean acceptance. It means clarity. You can't solve what you won't name, and crisis demands naming first. Sentence 2. Name the next step, not the full solution, not the entire recovery plan. The next step. I'll notify the client in the next 10 minutes. I'll bring in backup support within the hour. I'll run diagnostics and report findings by end of day. Next step only. Because crisis thinking isn't about solving everything. It's about stabilizing immediately. Stabilize first, solve second. Most people fail in crisis because they try to solve everything while standing in the fire. Winners step out of the fire first. They acknowledge reality. They name the next step. They move. Then they assess. Then they build the plan. Then they execute. But first, they stabilize. Here's the 10-minute triage protocol. When crisis hits, give yourself 10 minutes to run this sequence. Step 1. Stop. Stop reacting. Stop spiraling. Stop adding motion to chaos. Breathe. 4 inches. 6 out. 3 cycles. Step 2. Stabilize. What's the one action that prevents this from getting worse? Not better. Just not worse. Do that first. Step 3. Small win. What's the smallest thing you can control right now? Control it. Make the call. Send the message. Complete the task. One small win creates psychological momentum. And momentum breaks paralysis. Stop. Stabilize. Small win. That's the first 10 minutes. After that, you're no longer in crisis. You're in recovery. And recovery is just a series of decisions. Here's why this matters. Crisis reveals your operating system. It shows whether you've trained for pressure or just hoped you'd handle it. It shows whether you have a protocol or just have panic. Winners have protocols. They've practiced the pause. They've rehearsed the framework. So when crisis arrives, they don't invent. They execute. Acknowledge reality. Name next step. Stop. Stabilize. Small win. Small win beats big worry. Say it. Small win beats big worry. Because worry is thinking without action. And action, even small action, breaks the worry loop. You can't spiral and move at the same time. You can't panic and execute simultaneously. So when everything is loud, you make it simple. What's true? What's next? What's the small win? Answer those 3. Move on those 3. Repeat until the crisis becomes a problem. And problems can be solved. Here's your practice. Think of one recent moment when you felt overwhelmed or in crisis. Now, replay it with the framework. What was the reality you needed to acknowledge? What was the next step you needed to name? What was the small win available to you? Run it mentally. See how the framework changes the response. Then commit. Next time pressure hits, you'll use the protocol. Acknowledge reality. Name next step. Stop. Stabilize. Small win. Crisis doesn't break you. Lack of framework does. Build the framework now. Use it then. Small win beats big worry. Now let's close the loop. Chapter 11. The winner's loop. Iterate. Don't idolize. Winners don't worship outcomes. They worship process. Because outcomes are lagging indicators. They show you what already happened. Process is the leading indicator. It shows you what's about to happen. And process is the only thing you fully control. This is the winner's loop. It's not a goal. It's a flywheel. Clarity, action, feedback. Adjust over and over. Forever. Clarity. What am I trying to do? Define it precisely. Action. What's the move? Execute it immediately. Feedback. What happened? Observe without attachment. Adjust. What changes? Iterate and repeat. Most people get stuck in outcome obsession. They hit the goal or they don't. They win or they lose. They succeed or they fail. And when they hit the goal, they don't know what to do next. When they miss it, they collapse. Winners operate differently. They don't fixate on the outcome. They optimize the loop. They ask, did I get clearer? Did I act faster? Did I learn more? Did I adjust better? Because if the loop improves, the outcomes inevitably follow. If you get 1% better at clarity, action, feedback, and adjustment every week, you become unstoppable in a year. Not because you're gifted, because you're iterating. Iteration beats inspiration. Repetition beats revelation. Process beats perfection. Here's the weekly practice. Every 7 days, run the reflection. 4 questions, 10 minutes, total. Question 1. What worked at 80% or better? Not perfection. 80%. What actions, habits, or decisions moved me forward consistently? Question 2. What didn't work? What drained energy without results? What did I repeat that I should stop? Question 3. What's the one adjustment? Not 5 changes. 1. What single tweak would improve the loop this week? Question 4. What's the identity line? How do I describe myself based on this week's actions. I show up even when I don't feel ready. I follow through on commitments. I improve under pressure. That last question is critical because identity isn't what you claim, it's what you demonstrate. Every action is a vote for the person you're becoming. And winners vote consistently. This is how you build unshakable identity. Not through affirmations, through evidence, not through belief, through behavior. Every week, you accumulate proof that you are who you say you are. The winner's loop isn't sexy. It's not dramatic. It's not viral. It's just clarity, action, feedback, adjust, repeated endlessly. But endless iteration creates exceptional results. Most people quit because they idolize the outcome and ignore the process. They want the transformation without the repetition. They want the result without the loop. It doesn't work that way. Winners fall in love with the loop. They find satisfaction in the iteration. They celebrate small improvements, not just big wins. They understand that excellence is not a destination. It's a direction. And direction is set by daily decisions. Here's your practice. Set a weekly recurring reminder. Every Sunday evening or Monday morning. 10 minutes. 4 questions. What worked? What didn't? What's the one adjustment? What's the identity line? Write it down. Track it over time. In 3 months, you'll see the compounding. In 6 months, you'll see the transformation. In 1 year, you'll look back and barely recognize the person you were. Not because you had a breakthrough, because you iterated. Not because you got lucky, because you looped. Clarity, action, feedback, adjust. That's the code. That's the system that never stops working. And now we seal it with an oath. Final oath. The mind that never breaks. You've walked through the framework. You've learned the code. You've practiced the tools. Now it's time to claim it. Not as information, as identity. This is the oath. Speak it aloud. Right now, if you can. If not aloud, then internally with full conviction. Let every word land. Say it with me. I choose precision over positivity. I don't decorate problems. I define them. I don't negotiate with moods. I issue orders and obey them. I measure what matters. I decide with clarity. I move with speed. Pressure doesn't break me. Pressure trains me. Failure doesn't define me. Failure refines me. Crisis doesn't scatter me. Crisis sharpens me. I feel fully. I decide cleanly. I acknowledge reality. I name the next step. I take the small win. I iterate endlessly. Orders over moods. Always action precedes belief. Always stillness wins. Always. I am not waiting for readiness. I am not hoping for motivation. I am not seeking permission. I am the clarity in chaos. I am the calm under fire. I am the decision when others delay. I improve under pressure. I grow through repetition. I build through iteration. I am the mind that never breaks. Now go. Not someday. Today. Not when you feel ready. Now. Take one action from what you've learned. Run one protocol. Make one decision. Launch one move. Not perfect, precise, not motivated, commanded. The winner's mind is not given. It's built. One thought at a time. One decision at a time. One iteration at a time. You've been given the tools. You've learned the code. You've spoken the oath. Now prove it. Not to me. Not to anyone else. To yourself. Because you are the only one who will know if you followed through. You are the only one who will see if you lived by the code or just listened to it. You are the only witness that matters. From this moment forward, you are under new command. Not positive, precise, not reactive, responsive, not hoping, building. You are the mind that never breaks. Now go build the life that proves it.